June 13th, 2025. And there's a lot going on. There's a lot to discuss. We're going to be discussing two major stories, which would be the No Kings protests coming up tomorrow, as well as the Israeli strike on Iran that took place last night. A lot to talk about. So this is the first time, by the way, that we're live through a Rumble studio. So we're live, I think, on Rumble, Facebook, X, and YouTube. Plus Rumble, unless I didn't say that already. Anyway, so we'll see how it goes. This will be the first time that we've tried this. We're going to be trying to do, this is a new episode or a new, I guess, podcast, if you want to call it that. We'll just call it Dispatch Direct. And Dispatch Direct will just be covering some of the news stories that are taking place that we have covered or are covering. Excuse me. And so we hope that this will be something we can do fairly frequently to give you guys updated news and all that kind of stuff that's happening. Sometimes it's easier to get out more information through video. And so we want to try and do that. So this will be episode 1 of Dispatch Direct with two primary stories, the No Kings protest and the Israeli strike on Iran. So, and I am getting good mornings and that you guys are hearing us at least on YouTube. So, okay. Before I get into those two stories real quick, I would encourage everybody to subscribe to our channels. And then also, if you support the independent work that we are doing, please be sure to subscribe to the Idaho Dispatch and help us basically stick it to the mainstream media. You hate the mainstream media, guess what? The only counter to that is to build something that is better. And right up there, you can see our website where you guys can go and subscribe and support the work that we are doing. And with that, let's get into this protest that is taking place tomorrow. So here's the thing. The No Kings protest, I'm going to go to their website because if you don't know, or if you haven't read the article that we put out on the No Kings protest, which is taking place tomorrow, and the Idaho Dispatch will be on the ground. We're going to be on the ground at one of the protests, and we're not necessarily saying one yet because we have a couple that we've talked about going and trying to do a live stream at. Just kind of depends on a few things. So you'll know tomorrow when we start live streaming. But if you go to the No Kings website and you go to, on the right-hand side, it says partners. And if you click on partners, you're going to get a list. Now, I haven't counted how many organizations and companies this is, but it's a lot. At least maybe 100 different ones. But you've got the ACLU, Planned Parenthood, Black Voters Matter, Bernie Sanders, Blue Wave America, Common Power, Dem Lists, Free DC, Hold the Line, Indivisible. You should probably know that name. The Human Rights Campaign. I mean, this is a who's who of every left-wing organization you can possibly think of. In fact, I also saw, I don't remember her name. She's one of the Waltons, okay? One of Walmart's heiresses. It's a female, and I can't remember her name now. It just escaped my mind. Anyway, she's a big part of funding this entire thing. So this is a nationwide left-wing funded operation. This is has nothing to do with grassroots and all that kind of stuff. This is every left-wing organization in the country basically saying, okay, it's time to go protest Donald Trump. We hate Donald Trump. It's time to go protest. And this is the result of that. Again, it is a who's who of every left-wing organization you could possibly think of. Now, what do they say that they're going to protests? So they say that we don't have kings in America. They've defied our courts, deported Americans, disappeared people off the streets, attacked our civil rights, and slashed our services. The corruption has gone too far. No thrones, no crowns, no kings. So big anti-Donald Trump, propaganda from the left. The I think concern that a lot of people have is that if you look at what's happened in Colorado and LA and Atlanta, Minnesota, Seattle. Well, Seattle's kind of been a violent place all over the place these days. But if you look at those places, there is a lot of concern that left-wing agitators, people who want, now look, you go and peacefully protest, you have a First Amendment right to do that. Okay, you gather, you peacefully assemble. We've done those at the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance for years. You have a right to protest. So if that's the case, fine, great, whatever. Nobody cares. But because we've seen this in the past over and over and over again, that there are going to be left-wing agitators who come in and try to cause violence against either people or property. And we're already seeing that now with the anti-ICE protests, which is going to be a big part of this, right? They're talking about immigration on the No Kings website, which means at these protests tomorrow, you are going to have people who are very upset and very angry about the immigration issue or whatever the case may be. And you have people who want violence. They communists, socialists, quite a few others that want to have violence because they want to overthrow the current form of American system of government. So that's the who's who of what's behind that. Now, several Idaho sheriffs have come out and warned against some of that violence taking place. So, for instance, the Kootenai County Sheriff, I saw some posts, I saw some videos, I saw some pictures. We have not been able to confirm with the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office that they sent some of their SWAT team to Spokane because Spokane was getting pretty bad. I have not seen that confirmed by them, at least when I was looking yesterday. But the sheriff did come out, Sheriff Bob Norris, and he said, "As your sheriff, I want to reaffirm that one of the primary responsibilities of law enforcement is to preserve the peace and uphold the rights guaranteed by both Idaho and the United States Constitution. On June 14, 2025, public demonstrations are expected across the United States, including here in Kootenai County. You're going to see one in Coeur d'Alene. We'll go over the entire list here in a minute. The First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution protects the right of individuals to peacefully assemble and express their views. If you choose to participate in a protest or counter-protest in our community, I ask that you do so peacefully, respectfully, and lawfully. While I fully support your right to free speech, actions involving violence, destruction of property, including those against law enforcement officers, will be met with a swift and lawful response. I remain firmly committed to protecting your constitutional rights and preserving public order in Kootenai County. The rule of law will prevail in our community." So that was Kootenai County Sheriff Bob Norris, who, if he mentions they've had protests up there. If you guys remember the 2020 George Floyd protests and riots all across the country, Coeur d'Alene had a pretty massive counter protest. A lot of gun owners showed up. They were concerned that there was going to be violence as they were seen in Seattle and Spokane and other places closer to them. Nothing ended up happening, thankfully, but that's probably what he was maybe referencing there from past protests there in Coeur d'Alene. The Twin Falls County Sheriff also put out a statement. I'll read that real quick. This is Twin Falls County Sheriff Jack Johnson. "Good day, Twin Falls County. As your sheriff, I want to reaffirm that one of the primary responsibilities of law enforcement is to preserve public safety and uphold rights guaranteed by both the Idaho State Constitution and the United States Constitution. On June 14th, public demonstrations are expected across the state of Idaho, including here in Twin Falls. The First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, Article 1, Section 10 of the Idaho Constitution, protect the rights of individuals to peacefully assemble and express their views. If you choose to participate in a protest or counter-protest in our community, we ask that you do so peacefully, respectfully, and lawfully. While we support your right to free speech, actions such as violence, destruction of property, or assaults on others, including law enforcement, are not protected expressions and will be met with appropriate legal response. We are committed to protecting both the rights of individuals and the safety of the public. Let's work together to ensure any demonstrations held in Twin Falls reflect the civility and respect of our community values. Thank you, and stay safe." So that was Twin Falls County Sheriff Jack Johnson. Now, where are the protests expected tomorrow? There's a left-wing group called Idaho 50501 is has a Facebook post out that has a list of all. If you go to the No Kings website, it's actually kind of a pain in the butt to figure out where all these are. So this is actually a better breakdown. And I'm just going to read the times, the dates, and locations of these protests. And I know there are counter protests expected in some of these places. There's one expected in Coeur d'Alene and one expected in Twin Falls. I would imagine there's going to be one in Boise as well, but I haven't actually seen that posted yet, but I would imagine there will be counter protesters in Boise. So tomorrow in Boise at the Capitol steps, it starts at 11:30 a.m. I'm going to guess it doesn't. They actually didn't put the time on there, but I'm guessing it's Mountain Daylight Time for the Boise one. Coeur d'Alene at 12 o'clock p.m. That's at the US 95 and Appleway. Driggs. Okay. That's actually, so here's the thing. Southern Idaho is a little bit more moderate, maybe a lot more moderate. And I mean like far southern Idaho, Idaho Falls, Pocatello, Rexburg, Rigby area. Driggs has seen quite a few people moving there that, from my understanding, people that can't necessarily afford to move to, Wyoming, and some of the more expensive places there have ended up in Driggs. And I'm told there's a fair amount of liberals that have moved to Driggs. 10 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time, Maine and Little. Haley, 10 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time, Hop Porter Park, Idaho Falls. 4 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time, Broadway Bridge. Lewiston, Nez Perce County, 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 5th and Bridge Street, and it's kind of covers Clarkston, Washington. If you don't know, Lewiston is a border town, and Clarkston, Washington is across the bridge there in Lewiston. McCall, 10 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time, Veterans Park. Moscow, Gormley Park, 1 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Nampa, 5:30 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time, Nampa City Hall. Pocatello, 11:30 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time, Caldwell Park. Salmon, 11 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time, Bear on Main Street. Sandpoint, 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, Bonner County Office. Silver Valley, 4 to 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, top of 4th of July Pass. Silver Valley, I think, is over in Shoshone County, if I remember correctly. Twin Falls, 11 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time, County Courthouse. And Weiser, 10 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time, Highway 95 and Maine. Kind of again, there's some really small towns on there that probably have like 3 liberals living in the town, and they're all going to go protest at the same time, I guess. I don't know. So, from my understanding is the No Kings protests they're not really coordinating in terms of each town. I guess liberals in the town just signed up through their website to protest, and I don't know, maybe they're giving talking points after they do that or whatever. So the Boise one, by the way, at the Capitol, 11:30 a.m. is entertainment, and then 1 p.m. they're going to have their speeches. And again, there's like major left-wing people that are speaking at, not here in Idaho, but at other locations across the country about these No Kings protests. Are you guys going to go watch or attend, or are you going to go counter protest? I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you guys are going to end up going to any of these protests. Again, we will be at one of them, hoping to be at 2 of them, just kind of depends on some stuff. There's in other cities, you've seen independent journalists get attacked. And the hard part is a lot of the times I've gone and I've done covered these protests by myself. And how do I say this? Not necessarily the, best strategy. And so I have some security I'm hoping to have if I do go or when I do go to these protests. However, you never know. odds are most of the time it's going to be peaceful. Here in Idaho, we didn't see a lot of the stuff we saw in other states with the whole George Floyd protest stuff. So I'm not terribly concerned, but you just don't know. I mean, it takes one person. 'Cause here's the thing: when I'm interviewing someone on the street and it's live, I'm focused on the interview, right? I'm trying to engage with the person that I'm interviewing, which means I'm only looking in one direction for the most part. And it doesn't take but one person to come up and just go, attack you from behind, and you have no idea what happened. So you can't protect yourself. So I do have a plan, and to have hopefully some security, or at least an individual to watch my back, because you never know at these things. So I've had some agitators before while I've done interviews. Nothing where anybody was violent, but again, you just never know. So those are all the protests. Hopefully you guys can let me know if you're going to attend or do anything. Somebody on YouTube said, I signed up. They have sent emails urging peaceful behavior, offering signs, etc. Very benign. I'm not going. So yeah, they'll urge it on the one hand, and then knowing full well that there are people who intend to commit acts of violence in a lot of these places, and they'll be fine with that. So okay, we'll let you guys know. Hopefully I'll be able to post ahead of time where we're going to be, so you guys can know which times to watch for covering these protests. All right, last thing here. And again, if you guys aren't, please subscribe to our Rumble channel, and in particular, but just because we're not worried about censorship there like we are in some of these other places. So please be sure to do that. We have some reactions from Idaho officials. There was a strike against Iranian nuclear facilities and Iranian military personnel yesterday by Israel. And so here's some of the reactions that we have found from Idaho officials. So Senator Jim Risch said, we stand with Israel tonight and pray for the safety of its people and success of this unilateral defensive action. I am also praying for the brave U.S. service members in the Middle East who keep America safe. Iran would be foolish to attack the United States. Congressman Mike Simpson said, the United States stands with Israel and supports its right to defend itself. We are praying for our great ally, as well as for all American troops and personnel in the region. And then finally, Congressman Russ Fulcher said, the nation of Israel has a fundamental right to defend itself. This right exists not only to protect its borders and government, but most importantly, to safeguard its people's God-given rights to a life free from constant and real threat of annihilation. I didn't see anything by Governor Little or U.S. Senator Mike Crapo yet. If they do, I will post this in there. President Trump said, I gave Iran, this came out today on his Truth Social account, I gave Iran the chance after chance to make a deal. I told them in the strongest of words to just do it. But no matter how hard they tried, I have a Trump impersonation voice, but I don't want to do it. My kid's going to be very disappointed if he watches this and sees I didn't do it. I'm not going to do it. No matter how hard they tried, no matter how close they got, they just couldn't get it done. I told them it would be much worse than anything they know, anticipated, or were told. The United States makes the best and most lethal military equipment anywhere in the world, by far. And that Israel has a lot of it, with much more to come, and they know how to use it. Certain Iranian hardliners spoke bravely, but they didn't know what was about to happen. They are all dead now, and it will only get worse. There has already been great death and destruction, but there is still time to make this slaughter, with the next already planned attacks being even more brutal, come to an end. Iran must make a deal before there's nothing left and save what was once known as the Iranian Empire. No more death, no more destruction. Just do it before it's too late. God bless you all. So with that, I'm going to sign off for now. I got to go and try to, the No Kings protests are all taking place tomorrow, Saturday, June 14th. And again, there's a whole list of those. Maybe I'll update the article I put all the cities, but maybe I'll update it with all the times and locations and stuff. Again, there are counter protests planned in some of these locations. I don't know about all of them, but there are some. So anyway, I appreciate you guys tuning in. This has been the first episode of Dispatch Direct. Again, just a way for us to try to give you guys more content, give you more news. Sometimes people like to listen or watch something versus, reading the articles. We do have, by the way, a listen feature now at the top of most of our shorter articles, where if you're busy and you're driving or whatever, you can just click on it and you can listen to the story. And that way you don't have to read if you don't have time to read or you're busy doing something else. So, but other than that, this is hopefully a podcast we can do frequently to give you guys news about what's happening. So again, tomorrow, June 14th, No Kings Protest, Idaho Dispatch will be covering at least one of the events, possibly two. It just kind of depends on timing and if I can get my security help that I need to watch my back. And, that way I can focus on hopefully interviewing people. Maybe nobody will interview and talk to me. Who knows? We'll see. You just never know with these guys. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you. And if you guys have any questions, put them in the comments. But other than that, I appreciate your time. Thank you. Take care. God bless.